Hi, welcome back to Battleboards and for another instalment of some wargaming terrain that we've made. These two boards are for the Ork desert board that we made a couple of years back, and it's an extra sort of couple of boards to make the board, the overall board, an 8 foot by 4 foot board. You're going to see two boards today because obviously I've only got two boards, and then if you hang on to the end I'll add some footage of the other 6 boards so you can see what they came out like as well. So again, lots of work went into these two boards, and so I hope you enjoy this movie. Okay, so this is the mechanics pit stop for the racers to come in and get repaired, and this is its dismantled state. So these are the pieces that you're going to be needing for it. It's the main tower, the crane, the sort of booby trap device, which I'll go through in a minute. I built one of the racers. So you can see how that fits in with the scale and everything, and the main parts for the actual pit itself with the moving crane. So it's quite easy to construct. So basically the first thing we'll do is put on the tower. So that just connects there. Just slide it around till you find the magnets. And next we have the main crane, lovely crane made from GW. Part of the sort of industrial set, so that just sits in there, and as explained, that's got a magnet in it, so it just finds its own place, and then that will easily spin. And then the rear crane is removable. You can then put the welder on, or you can have the larger crane. That sort of works like that, so it can basically pick up the booby trap and then drop it back down. Now, as part of the mechanics workshop kit comes this little crane, so I've made this little sort of railway track for it to run on, so that's just loose, so then you can run that backwards and forwards to wherever you like it, and the engine itself can be removed as well if you want more space. I've included a small magnet here, so this is where the welder can go, so effectively it can go be used on either side. So it just fits in there, and then some of the tools and things are just left loose, so you can remove those if you wanted to. And this is the main engineering station, which fits the racer in. Lovely detail on the actual kit. And I've also custom made this little crane as well, which sits in this point here, and that has a small little metal plate on it, which you just feed from underneath until it connects onto the magnet. That just holds it in place, but still allows it to be moved and spun around. And then as part of that, I've included a partially repaired bike with a little chain, and that just hooks over the top there, and then the crane can support the bike while it's being worked on. And then I've also included a bit of extra sort of scatter terrain as well that I've left removable, so you can place these wherever you like, you know, so you can make those as barricades or cover or something like that. And again, I'll just do a quick fly around so you can see how all that works together. I think it's all come together really nicely, and the kits work really well with the sort of Ork theme that we already started a couple of years ago on the other boards. Okay, and then we'll just add the other board back in so you can see the two boards together. And then when they've been pushed together, that's when you can use the main walkway. Now the main walkway has this little weapon that sits underneath, this little cannon that sits underneath, and now I didn't glue that in the end, I just left it loose, so you just sort of press fit that in. That's so that if you wanted to use it as a barricade by itself, it will actually sit you know, on the ground, and you'd be able to use that in different positions with that, but with the cannon sticking out of it, it doesn't really make much sense to do that, so I've just left that loose. But then that then just magnetically connects across that bridging point there. You can go either way round, so it doesn't really matter. And then I've left the sort of rocket and the cannon on top movable, so that can be spun round as well. So you can see that you just need to push that in, just give it a bit of a wiggle, and that will stay in its place. And then when vehicles come through, they can be blasted with it. Okay, and so that's pretty much it. Now, as always, if not to make life easy for myself, what I wanted to do was have a trap that worked for sort of the vehicles as they came through. So there's a chance that they could hit this, or it could be rolled onto them. To arm the trap, you stick the spiked drum over the top, raising the arm up into its vertical position, then dropping the roller in between the two guides. And it is a bit tricky, and you need to just sort of fiddle around with it. Of course, the Orks made it, so it's never going to be perfect. And then you can then just get the arm to hold the drum in place, and then when you release the arm, the drum will fall down. Now, just as with any Orks, it's a bit hit and miss whether or not it works or not, so you're never quite sure if it's going to work. So luckily it worked that time, which was amazing, but 50% of the time it just jams and gets stuck. So again, quite a nice bit of gameplay there, where you can set it up, and then if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. So I really enjoyed making that piece. But I'm sure you'll have fun working out whether or not it works or not. And where it lands is completely random as well. Sometimes it spins over here, sometimes it goes right over here, and sometimes it just gets jammed in the machine altogether and doesn't actually go anywhere. So I really enjoyed making that piece, and pretty much got it spot on for Orks technology, or lack of it. So yeah, that's just a fun little extra that I included in the board. Okay, and that's it. So that's the board now complete. So I'm sure it's going to give you a lot of enjoyment, and it's going to be an awesome board with all its miniatures on and things. So look forward to seeing how that looks. Well, hope you enjoyed the movie. As you can see, quite some work went into these two boards. It gave me the opportunity to use some of the new GW industrial sets and the Ork bits that they've put together for the Speed Freaks game, which was just fantastic to work with, and really enjoyed working with those. And so I've recommend that if you're into that Ork universe, they can be really useful. Obviously I used a lot of custom bits as well, so it's quite a mismatch, just as the Orks would have built. So with that, another epic sort of board finished. I'm unfortunately going to be having a bit of a break. I've been doing this for 15 years now, so it's about time I think I have a break. I've got many other projects that I'm looking at the moment, so we're going to be possibly building some steampunk bits and pieces that you might get to see. And so I might even be posting videos on how I've sort of developed those sort of bits. I've also been working at a local military museum, helping out for the last couple of years, putting together a massive, great big World War II exhibition for them. So that's taking up most of my time, hence why there's been quite a lack of posts lately. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to sort of postpone, continuing to do wargaming for the moment. Although I'm sure, I'm sure I won't be able to give it up completely. So you may see various bits and pieces coming on the channel, but maybe just not as large as the custom boards. So I'm not completely done with wargaming just yet, so I'll be concentrating maybe more on the battle mats, which are easier to handle while I've got all these extra projects going on. And so I'll be posting up videos and things about that. Looking forward to designing some new designs. And in fact, the board that you've just seen, hoping to turn that into a mat as well, so much more affordable way of getting some of the Battleboard terrain if you really like the terrain. So hopefully, it's never going to be as good as a full custom board, but the cost is much easier to handle for a lot of gamers who aren't professional gamers or don't want to spend as much time or even storing these things, because they can take up a massive amount of room to actually just store the terrain. So I want to say thank you very much for all my followers and for the subscribers for following me over all these years. Massively appreciate all your sort of comments and your feedback and your support. So thanks very much, and I'll see you in the future, whatever I'm doing.